Okay, so I'm going to talk you through how to get started on the outline. I know it's difficult to see the screen right now, so that's why I want you to have it pulled up on your own Chromebook so that you can follow along and actually do this while I'm doing it, which is going to be starting your outline. So if you go to the week at a glance and you go on today's date and you click on outline, it says intro to outline there, click on that, open up that document. Okay, from here, you're not going to be able to edit on this, so you have to make a copy. Right, tracking along, right? So file, make a copy. I'm not going to do it with my document. I don't need to make a copy. Okay. Then, if you've ever been at a point where you're trying to write something and you're just staring at the computer screen, you don't even know where to like put your name and get started. You're never going to be like that with the outline, because here it is, already done. All you need to do, whoop, my computer's been super slow. What I would do here is I would highlight all of this, so capture all the text, the whole thing, and then come up here and turn it red. Turn your font to red. It's not gonna let me do it because I didn't. Oh, it let me highlight. I don't want highlighting. I meant to change the font, not to highlight. Hold on. I'm not going to highlight it. What I'm going to do is change my font to red. Okay, so now when I look at this, I can see Linehan's stuff is red, but my stuff, as I put my own information in there, I'm going to type over the Linehan red stuff and I'm going to change my font to black. So you can visually see what you still need to put into your outline and what's already done. But you've got the template, you've already got the formatting already in there. So you don't have to think about Roman numerals and ABCs and 1, 2, 3, because it's all there. Okay, and you're just going to now load it up with your own information. So let's take a look. You're going to change this to your name up here. This is not English 10 Honors, this is speech communication, but this is a basic template. For the requirements, all citations, which we're going to get to in a second about how we put specific information, quotations or facts that require documentation must be cited according to MLA guidelines and highlighted in your outline. So for my purposes, that's not an MLA thing, that's a Linehan thing. I would like, when you plop your information from a specific source, I would like for you to highlight it, so I know that that's where a specific source citation is. And I'll show you an example in just a minute. All right, then be sure to actually delete all these instructions before you turn it into your own, before you actually upload it. You with me? Okay, then take a look at the actual format. Introduction. The attention getter is some shocking story, fact, or example that pulls the reader in and makes them want to read more. It could be a short video clip on your topic that you'd like to include to really make the audience interested in what you have to share. If that's the case, you can just drop in the YouTube URL right there. Unlike a paper where you can't rely on video to help you along, here for your attention getter, it could be a video that you're going to show. So you could just drop the link right there into attention getter. And then this next one, link, it's not URL link, it's connector sentence from what you just showed us in the attention getter to your thesis. So remember, I think I talked to you when we talked about confidence, about having a really good beginning and how you might start with like a video. Did we talk about starting with a video of somebody on a roller coaster? I can't remember if we just talked about that or not. I use that example a lot. So if you started your speech with a video of somebody doing a roller coaster ride, right? We can all imagine what that would be like. We're riding on a roller coaster. We're like feeling like we're in the moment, right? Right after that, you might be jumping to the conclusion that this is all going to be about roller coasters, or maybe you think it's going to be about steel construction and the amazing things they can do with steel. It could be about virtual reality. You don't really know until you listen right after the attention getter to find out, where are we going with this, right? So the link is going to be a connection. In that example, it might be the video that you just watched is an example of high performance virtual reality recording. Today, I'm going to talk to you about some cool things that are happening in the VR world, virtual reality, okay? Or maybe that was an example of the amazing things we can do with steel. Today, I'm going to tell you all about the steel industry and everything that's done. So the link is that connection behind from what you just told us or showed us or did for the attention getter, leading into the thesis, which is just, today I'm going to tell you about whatever your topic is, okay? Because this is just informative. Everybody clear? So the attention getter, something to grab us. The link, some way to explain why you just showed or said or did what you just did with the attention getter. And then the thesis is, what are we going to hear about, right? Just simply informative. Today I'm going to tell you all about Brett Favre, whatever it might be, okay? Then you could give us a preview of your main things. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of steel, the amazing things that we can do with it, and what the future might hold for the steel industry. Just a quick little preview of what's to come. Main point number 1, topic sentence. Whatever your topic is, that's going to drive what the main points are, okay? If I'm going to do something, remember how we talked about organization being important? We want to make sure that the audience can kind of track where we're going with this. So if you're doing it on a TV show, maybe you go by the series, the years, you know, like season 1, season 2. Maybe you go by the characters. Maybe you're going to talk about characters. You're going to talk about the main plot. Maybe you're going to talk about the setting. But we should have some kind of an idea of where you're going with this topic. If you're doing it on a person, chances are we're not super interested in where the person was born. People like to start with that information, but really that's not very interesting. So maybe talk about the highlights of that person's career, why they're important, and the major work that they did. But it should have some logical order to it. We shouldn't find out this is like the superstar Super Bowl MVP, and then he was born in such and such a town, and in 3rd grade he did this. There should be some kind of order, logically, either chronologically or topically. You're going to have to decide with your own topic what makes the most sense for your topic, okay? These numbers, the letters and numbers, are there just to guide you, but you don't necessarily have to have exactly the same that I have. You don't necessarily have to have an A, B, C, D. It just shows you how to structure it if you do want to go with an A, B, C, D. Okay. Finally, in the conclusion, we're going to restate the thesis. Today, you learned a little bit. I hope you learned a little bit about Brett Favre, right? Some concluding final thought that just keeps us thinking about your topic. Okay. So that is outline in a nutshell. Okay. And it should be easy to just type over the top of this, turn it black. You can see where you are with it as you go. Then your works cited page should be technically at the start of a new page at the end of your outline. Okay, so at the very end of your outline, what you're going to do, so you all have this document open right now, right? You already created one, did make a copy. So right here, what I want you to do, this point after the conclusion, everybody tracking with me, so we're all going to be on the same page with this? Yes? Throw up your hand if you need me to wait. Okay, so right here, we're going to come up here, we're going to do insert. And then we're going to scroll down to break. And then we're going to add in page break. So now when we start doing all our works cited business, I would type the words works, more than one, works with an S, works cited. Okay, highlight them. And then come over here to the top because we want them to be aligned. We want it to be in the center of the page. Now we know our works cited is going to start on this page. It's always going to be on a new page because we inserted a page break. So it's not going to be weird where we're working on our outline and suddenly our works cited is halfway down, start of the next page. It should always be at the top of a fresh page. And if you enter in that page break, it always will be. Okay. From there, because you did an awesome job on your notes and you kept track of those MLA citations electronically, remember I told you to plunk them into a Google Doc? Now you can go to that Google Doc and you can drop them right in here. on the works cited page. Questions so far? All right, next thing that I want to show you then. So you've already got your outline and your works cited started. Yes, everybody's got that document. You call it your own outline, not Linehan's. Then go back to the weekend plans. And there, on today's date, there's a document that's called How to Cite Sources in My Speech. So this is a little different than maybe how you've done it if you've had to write a paper before in a class and you had to actually cite a source. And maybe you had some quote from somebody and then you put a little Smith in parentheses afterwards to show you got it from the source that was written by John Smith. It's got to be a little different when we're speaking, because you wouldn't just say monkeys prefer dull bananas, Smith. That's just awkward. We don't speak like that. You would say in a magazine, People magazine had an article about monkey banana preferences, and in it, it said that monkeys prefer dull bananas, right? You're giving some more information about where you found that bit of information when you speak, that you can't just put a Smith there. You have to give us more context. So take a look at this. When you're giving a speech, you must orally cite all of the sources that appear on your works cited page. So you shouldn't have any sources on your works cited that you're not actually citing in your outline or in your speech. Okay, the reason that they're called works cited is because they are works that you actually cited. If you don't cite them, they shouldn't be there. Okay, so if you change your mind and a source isn't good, you decide not to use it, take it off the works cited. Just make sure you still have the required number of sources that you're actually citing in the end. Okay, but there shouldn't be anything on there that you're not actually citing. So how do we do this then? Every oral citation should have the name of the author, the publication and date, and the title of the work. Sometimes you won't have all that information available though, especially if you got it off of a website. So what's really important is that whatever you have in your works cited page should match what's in your outline and should match then what you say out loud. Okay, so if there is no author, I should be easily able to look at your works cited and say, oh, well, that source didn't have an author. That's why she didn't say an author. Okay, so take a look. Once you have all this information, you can put it together kind of like a puzzle, but you don't want to sound like a robot. There's a couple of different ways you can roll it out so that it sounds natural when you speak it. So here are some facts from one article. The author's name is Bill Smith. The publication date is December 24th, 2003. The title is The Gift of the MasterCard, and it's written for the publication The New York Times. Okay, the information that this person pulled out of that article that they want to cite is that most American households have a minimum of $13,000 in credit card debt. Okay, so now you start putting it naturally into your outline wherever it would make sense. Maybe that's your opening attention getter. Maybe that's further down under main point number 1 or 2. Okay, so Bill Smith, in his December 24th, 2003 New York Times article entitled The Gift of the MasterCard, stated that most American households have a minimum of $13,000 in credit card debt. Okay, so we've got Bill Smith, the author, we've got the date, we've got New York Times, we've got the title, The Gift of the MasterCard, and then we've got the factoid stuck in there, all in one sentence. That sentence, when you decide to put that into your outline, that you would highlight that entire thing, that entire sentence. Okay, so not just like the Smith at the end, but the whole sentence where it includes all the information where you got it, and then the actual information that you want to include. All right, another way to do it, the December 24th, 2003 New York Times included an article by Bill Smith entitled The Gift of the MasterCard. In it, Smith reports that most American households have a minimum of $13,000 in credit card debt. So rolled out just a little differently. So you don't have to sound robotic and always say it exactly the same way, but you do have to have that information in there each time. Another one, an article entitled The Gift of the MasterCard, written by Bill Smith for the December 24th, 2003 New York Times, states that most American households have a minimum of $13,000 in credit card debt. All kind of the same thing, right? It's just worded just a little differently. The last one's probably the most unique. The New York Times, December 24th, 2003 issue included an article entitled "The Gift of the MasterCard." In it, author Bill Smith writes about the struggle Americans have with their credit cards. In fact, he reported that most American households have a minimum of $13,000 in credit card debt. So that's not even one sentence, that's 3 sentences, but it's all in there together, where they're acknowledging where they found it, who wrote it, when it was written, the title of the article, and then the information itself. So when I look at your outline, I should see at least 4 blurbs that are highlighted, because you pulled something essential from each one of your 4 sources.
Hi, this is Joy in the main office. I'm looking for a student. And first of all, I guess I'm looking for Stephanie Radowski. I want to know if she has a walk planner.
Okay. So when I look at your outline, I should be able to see that you have examples there, or sorry, that you have citations there that are highlighted that I could see from across the room. So next thing I'm going to open up just for you to be able to visually take a look at one of these, what this might look like. I have a student example. Do I have a student example? Hold on one second. Hang with me. I want to show you what it looks like from a distance. There we go. Stay with me. Goodness, why can I not find it? Hold on, I'll show you in a different one. Sorry, my computer's freezing up, so things are not opening up the way I would like. Here you go. Outline example. Okay. Pull it over to the other screen so you can see it. Okay, so this is one that somebody did for a different class, but you can still see what I'm talking about. So they used my template for creating the outline, and you can see from here without even having to read it. This right here is a citation, right? It's highlighted. It's a blurb. Okay. Well, actually, this is a thesis statement right here, but here's a citation right here. NASA's article entitled "Climate Change: Vital Signs of the Planet" stated that in its 5th assessment report, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change concluded there's more than 95% probability that human activities over the past 50 years have warmed our planet, and then gave credit to the source, citing it as climate. Okay, so I can scroll through this and I can see where those blurbs are highlighted all the way to the bottom. If my computer weren't so, I could get it down to the works cited page. See how the works cited starts on its own page, right? The other thing about the works cited now, when we get there, you can see from here how many sources she actually cited because of indentation, right? So here's one I can see from across the room. There's one starting, there's one, and there's one, right? Hanging indentation means that it looks like the opposite of a paragraph. Okay, so each new entry is going to be all the way to the left, and then the rest of the entry is going to be tabbed in 5 spaces. Okay, the way to do this, and I think we'll probably just do it all together because I know you all have those citations that you're ready, that you dropped into a Google Doc and that you're ready to drop into your actual works cited now on this page. We'll walk through how to do this all together because there's a setting up here in the settings that allows you to do it. So let's just do it all together once you guys have that page ready to go so that your works cited can look like this. In the meantime, make sure that they're listed alphabetically. So this one starts with Aronoff A. That's the first listing. Next one is climate So A, C, make sure these are alphabetically listed for your works cited. Right? Once you get that all filed, all in there, ready to go with all those sources you already have, we'll, as a class, we'll walk through together how to actually do the hanging in. All right, any questions? That was kind of a lot of information. We good? Okay. If you have questions, I will stop. Let me stop the recording. Share.